was on the wrong channel. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Vented UPLIFT. Today we're going to be talking to Lucie Dickenson, author of The Anxious Hippie. So we're going to wait for her to come on and talk with us. So just want to say, the point of what we're trying to do, and we keep adding things and having authors, is that we're trying to find some life skills that we can all help each other with. At Vented, we're all about, with our bracelets, we're all about learning to pause, be in the moment, to be grateful, to be kind, because when you purchase one, we donate one. So we're trying to help in many different ways. So when I meet some amazing women who do amazing things, who went through a lot of stress and chaos, I like to bring them on. And here's Lucie joining us now. So Lucie just asked to join. So what we keep doing is that we just keep bringing on these amazing women and learning new life skills. Something like tapping is not something that I have done before. I know a few people who have done it, and I was very intrigued by it. So we had Lucie on the other night on our Zoom event, and she taught a few of us little quick steps. So what I wanted to do was to learn more about it. And so I'm learning, and I wanted to share with you how you can learn too. So Lucie is an EFT tapping coach. And here she is.
Hello. Sorry, just a little bit of technical difficulty on my end. Sorry about that.
Oh, don't apologize. I was live on my personal account. And I look up, because heaven forbid I ever wear my glasses. And I'm like, Chrissy, you're not under Vented. You're under yourself.
I was pressing buttons.
No, you got it. You do. You look fabulous.
I'm so proud of myself.
You did it. All right. So everyone, welcome Lucie Dickenson, the author of The Anxious Hippie. I want to tell you quickly how we met. So Maureen Spataro, who you guys have met, I've had her on, author of Press Pause. She also does Tent Chat. So the night that I got to go do my tent chat, in walks this amazing stoic woman. Not many women are taller than me. So, and I was just like, what is her presence? I knew nothing about her. And I'm like, I like this lady. And she was funny, but very quickly. And then she's like, oh, well, I've been through all this shit, and I've gone through stress, and I've been through all this crap, and I don't like the highways still. And I was just like, and to me, I'm like, that's crazy. What are you talking about? Because not really comprehending what this woman has been through and the stress that she's had in her life. I mean, so I told you, in the meeting that night, I felt bad. I'm after I read this book, I was like, holy crap. You've been through so much. And now your mission is to spread this, this journey that you've been through, and how you went from bedridden to now an EFT tapping coach, and you've learned all these different methods that helped you through stress and anxiety. Right. So everybody, welcome Lucie.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. That's a wonderful introduction. And I think you're fabulous too. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be on here. So when you asked me to talk about EFT, it was kind of like a blast from the past, because that kind of came up in our talk last week. I didn't even mention that. Sometimes you forget what you know, right? And what helped you.
Right.
And
exactly.
It was like an aha moment, because it helped me, but I realized, boy, some people would love these tools right now. Even though that's in my toolbox, it was kind of in the bottom of my toolbox at this point for me. But it's interesting, since I pulled it out last week, I've used it so much, I kind of forgot about it. It was like a forgotten, part of my toolbox. And thank you for, resuscitating it, because it is such an incredible tool. And it's so easy, right? When we did it last week, it is so easy. So let me give you a little bit of background. Do you want me to give a little background on myself real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you want me to go right into EFT?
Be forewarned. I can be on here for an hour, so you're the one who's got to set the time. I can just blah, blah, blah,
I'm a
blah,
yapper
blah,
too.
blah, blah.
You know
I can talk.
We can talk all day.
We both like to curse and talk and laugh, so, we're good.
So My background is, like Chrissy said, I had horrific anxiety. I didn't know it was any different from anybody else's because it was mine, right? So I just thought everyone, that's how they lived. I've come to know that's not the case. But like I said when we last talked, I once spoke to a really wise man that was helping me, and I asked him what the worst symptoms you could have, and he said, yours. And I just thought that was such a beautiful statement, because we can't measure everyone else's stress because yours is what's the worst, right? Because you're experiencing it at that point. So, yes, I was bedridden. I actually had something called chemical sensitivity alongside of the anxiety, which I couldn't even leave my room because I was sensitive to almost everything in the world. At one point, it even got towards water, and that's when I knew I had to do something, because I was only eating 5 foods. I don't even get into the craziness of it, but I had to have organic everything, organic beds. I could only wear cotton at one point. It was almost unreal. And if someone were to tell me about it, I wouldn't believe it. But because I lived it, I believe it. So my background was, I knew the whole time, I never gave up faith. I always knew I was going to find a way out. If I can find a way in, I could find a way out. And one night, I was talking to God, and I just said, if you help me find this way out. And it was almost like I was making a deal with him. And I realized now God doesn't make deals. He just wants, But I did say, I will help people. I know if I can get out of this, I can help at least one person, if not more. And it was from that day forward that things just started escalating and getting better. And I was on this trail, and these breadcrumbs were in front of me, and one of them was EFT. And I'm the kind of person, once I learn something, I want to really learn it. Like, I didn't just want it.
You dove right in.
I dove right in. I said, I had my whole family doing it. I think even in my book I talk about, I was tapping my dogs. I really was tapping my dogs.
I don't know. I don't recall if okay. Is it in there?
Oh, there's so many little lines, but it is in there. It talks about, it was the one where I was going to the mall, the chapter where I went to the mall. And I talk about how I tapped everything in order to get to the mall. But yeah, you actually, you can tap your pets. There are actually coaches out there that do tapping for pets, and it works. So the background for EFT, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It was brought to life by this creator, Gary Craig, who was an amazing, amazing man. It has since been repackaged by, I forget the name of the brother and sister, but they started the tapping revolution. I think that's what most people know, that book, The Tapping Revolution, and they know it as tapping. But when I learned it, it was EFT. This is, way back in 2008. And Emotional Freedom Technique is just another way of doing acupressure or even acupuncture. You're using those same acupressure points in order to release stuck energy and restore the chi or the flow of your energy. And sometimes that stuckness is from emotions and old traumas that we hold in our energy system. Now, let me tell you, before this, I was not an energy person. I was not the person you see before you. I was the most, I didn't believe in any of this. Like, you could have told me this, but when you're sick, you would do anything to get well. And I said I would have I would have put chicken feathers on and clucked around the house if it would have gotten me well.
I mean, you did do a couple of extreme things. Yes.
Really,
and your husband did too, the poor thing.
I've done really extreme things. So I had to suspend my disbelief, right? I didn't have to believe in it, but I had to suspend that disbelief. I had to go that step in order to take the steps for EFT, because this was real wonky donkey, right, for me. But once I did it, things started getting better, and I was almost kind of freaked. It was almost like voodoo to me. I was like, this is crazy. So what I want to do is just introduce, to your listeners and your platform, real easy ways to do it. And I actually have a couple other surprises, because there's some other things that go with this that I didn't talk to you about last time that I think can help someone. So what this does is you can do it out loud. You can say it to yourself. But the most important part to me, I believe, is this setup phrase. And the reason the setup phrase, well, let me back up. We know we have old beliefs and recordings in our head, right? And they keep playing and playing. It's like an old, if you remember your old, 8-track tape or your old cassette tape, you kept putting it in, right? Your favorite playlist that you created. And that just keeps going again and again in your head. Those are your beliefs, right? And they're there from, age 9 and before. You have those in you. And then add on top of the traumas, that pile on top until we're in our 30s and 40s, right? When they finally kind of, your barrel overflows and they have to come out. What EFT does is it, like I said, it removes the block, but it's also removing that old tape, and you have the opportunity to put a new blank tape in and create the beliefs that you want. And that's so empowering to know that we have that power. So that's why this setup phrase is so important, because what we're saying here is we're tapping on the karate point chop, the karate chop point, and you're just tapping. It doesn't matter if you tap with a couple fingers, 4 fingers, you're just tapping that point. And this is an acupressure point. And you're saying out loud, or you could say it under your breath, however you want to do it. There's no rules. Like, people think there's rules. Like, there might be someone who say, that's not how I do it. That's okay. It's all good. But the most important part is to say, I truly love and accept myself. And that's the secret sauce, right? Like, if everyone wants to know a secret, the secret sauce is accepting yourself as you are right now so that you have the foundation to move to the next step. So when you're doing this, even though I have this anxiety, I truly love and accept myself. And what you're really saying is, I accept myself with or without anxiety. I love myself with or without anxiety. And when your brain hears that, all that anxiety, right, lessens, because you're loving yourself no matter if you're scared, happy, whatever. I love myself no matter what. So that setup phrase is so important. And it's one part of the EFT process you don't want to do, because there's so many shortcuts to this that people do. I would not lose this. Okay. So we're going to start. You do this round 3 times. It's called the setup phrase. Even though I have this, then insert what your issue is. Mine was anxiety. Yours could be pain. Yours could be emotional. It could be this pain in the ass, cousin, whatever it is, even though I have this, and it could be emotional, physical, or spiritual. Okay. Even though I have this anxiety, I truly love and accept myself. You could even kind of feel yourself relaxing as you say this. Even though I have this anxiety, I truly love and accept myself. Even though I have, and you can insert curses here, like, you don't have to be formal. Like, you're with yourself. You could say, even though I have this freaking anxiety, I truly love and accept myself. So you do that 3 times, and then you're going to start with the rounds. And it doesn't matter what side you do it on. You can do it with both hands or one hand, whatever's more comfortable for you. And you're going to start with the inner eye. And you're just tapping these acupressure points. And as you do it, and there's no time limit on here either, just a couple times, or you could do it for as long as it feels right to you. Listen to your soul, right? Your internal GPS. And you just go around and talk about what comes in your brain. At first, you might be a little kind of hesitant. And
scared.
Or scared. And you can
what comes out of my brain?
Right. But that's what you want to say. Even though I'm freaking scared and I don't know what this is about, right? So you say that, this anxiety, inner eye, outer eye, right at the end of your eyebrow. This anxiety, under your eye. This anxiety. Again, say whatever comes to your mind. I'm saying under your nose. This anxiety is so hard to hold. Your chin or under your lip. This anxiety, this stress that doesn't allow me to sleep, right? Collarbone. This anxiety is so heavy. You're going to lift your arm and your armpit, like a little under your armpit, right by where your bra strap would be. This anxiety. And then the top of your head. I'm going to try and squinch down so you see me. This anxiety. So that's called 1 round. Take a deep breath and see how you feel. It would be fabulous, and I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but it would be fabulous if 1 round cured everything. Didn't happen that way for me. What I had is sometimes you have to do 3 rounds of that. Sometimes you have to do it every day for a week. Sometimes you have to do it for a month. You have a lot of crud on your energy field. It took time to build that up. It's going to take time to clean it off, right? And make it shiny and bright. It's like, you know, when you're scrubbing a pan after Thanksgiving, right? Gets really messy before it gets clean, right? It gets all grimy. It's the same kind of thing that you're doing here. So, but what you do want to go for and think about is what's coming in your mind, because your subconscious mind wants to speak with you, right? It tells you through pain, it tells you through symptoms. It's trying to tell you what your next step would be. So listen, even if it sounds like the weirdest thing, it might not even be anxiety. Even though I fell off that horse when I was 9 years old, might come up. Say it, go with it, because that might be one of the key issues, right? Your core issues for your anxiety. You think it's something that's happening today, but the domino effect is it may have started when you were 9 years old and you fell off that horse. So go with it. So if it says, even though I fell off that horse when I was 9 years old, I truly love and accept myself. And you go around and do that until there are no more tail enders and you feel that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. And I think I would do, I'm claustrophobic because my brothers used to suffocate me with the blanket constantly and shove me in a dryer.
There you go. So that's
flashbacks. Believe me, when I was reading your book, I was like, oh, like you and Jen's book, Jen is on with us. It's like, oh, I forgot all about that. That time in summer camp where the leader looked at all the girls and peered over while we were all in summer camp. I was like, holy crap, that's right.
Right.
That whole feeling of shame that all the girls were getting dressed and that boy leader was looking at all of us.
And that's something to tap on, right? Like even, and I think people use, and maybe we use the word so like flippant. The word trauma doesn't have to be something so huge. It's just something that impacted you and made you feel emotionally vulnerable at the time. And that's your trauma. So we look for these huge traumas sometimes, and sometimes it's the smallest thing that's holding that energy field hostage. So listen to those, we call them tail enders.
Okay. So when, so if somebody's going through, they just feel like they're a little tightening or something, like they feel a panic attack coming on, or they're just worried about a situation. Just stop what you're doing.
Stop what you're doing, and you can tap. And sometimes, obviously, I know it's not okay to tap. So I can get real woo-woo here with what I did.
Okay.
Please,
woo-woo away.
I can woo-woo away. So this one's not so woo-woo, and you're going to realize this once I say it. We automatically, naturally, we know we're meant to be in homeostasis. We're meant to be healed and feel good, right? That's our natural state. So who does this, right? Mm-hmm. Do you sit and do this? Or sometimes we are naturally tapping all the time. I always play with my finger. We haven't gotten into the finger ones, but we will. This is one of my points that's a big deal. Or are you rubbing stuff sometimes? Are you doing this? Are you doing this? Mm-hmm. So we know that we're supposed to be doing this. So if you're ever in a panic attack, the last thing I know in my bad ones, I would not be able to say, even though, right? I would not have the wherewithal to do that, but I would have the wherewithal to do this or this. These 2 points when you're having a panic attack are fabulous. It's your collarbone and your upper lip. And that will help you at least get to the place of, and then being able to do this. So these are your real good calming points. So there's something else. So when tapping went into the tapping revolution, and that's how everyone kind of knows about tapping, they took off a big part of what Gary Craig did. So we actually call this like the short session. Right,
Gary Craig is the guy it started in like 1995.
He's the guy who started this. And he had something called, and I don't know, to be honest, I don't know if he created this part, this 9 gamut. I don't think he did, but he put it as part of the round. So what I showed you is what most people are doing. But if you have a really bad trauma, or you're not able to heal it or feel kind of a relief with what I just showed you, there's something called the 9 gamut. And it's very similar to EDMR. Do you know what EDMR is? So a lot of therapists use EDMR in their sessions, and it's something they do with their eyes, right? I don't know, I'm not going to pretend to know that, I don't teach it and I'm not qualified to, but I know it has to do with the eyes, and I know this 9 gamut is similar to it. So the reason it works even better than the short round is because you're using both hemispheres of your brain, and research has showed that your eyes can actually heal really bad traumas when you do these exercises with your eyes. So all the 9 gamut is, and I have all of this on cards if anyone wants them, right? And I can just send them as a picture just to remind people.
Sure.
But the 9 gamut is kind of like your advanced for people who have these really bad traumas that just, maybe this is not enough. And where you tap is you go in between your little finger and your ring finger. And you go down about 1 inch from the knuckles. That's your 9 gamut point. And you tap on that. And when I first heard this, I giggled. I was like, why would I do this? But again, remember the chicken feather? I would do that. I'm doing this. You tap on this. You think of your issue. You don't have to say it. Think about your issue. And then you are going to do this. You're going to have your eyes open. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to open them back up. You're going to look down to the right. You're going to look down to the left. You're going to do a full circle clockwise with your eyes, and then go back the other way. This is when it gets really funny. Then you're going to hum any tune, any song, because that uses a different part of your brain. So you're going to hum 5 seconds of a tune. You can do happy birthday. Happy birthday, whatever it is you want to say, happy birthday. And then you're going to count to 5 because that uses another part of your brain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hum again. And then breathe. Sounds like a lot. This is a secret weapon for men and women, children who are really suffering and living in their trauma, right? And just can't get out of it. This 9 gamut is life-saving. I would even go as far as to say that. It seems really weird, but you're using all these different parts of your brain. You're lighting them up, and you're putting them on alert that you're letting go of this. And you're creating these new neural pathways. And it's beautiful. It's easy, right? It's easy. It's kind of silly, right? But it's easy. And what a wonderful tool to get rid of all of this stress, this anxiety, these traumas that you have sitting with you that need not be there.
Jen is saying she wants the card for that.
So, okay.
All right,
definitely.
So you have that. Yeah. So we'll have to, and I'll share that later too.
Okay.
As well. And Maureen just joined us too.
Hi, Maureen.
And chat.
Yeah. So that's my funny 9 gamut, because I know she would have had a comment about singing the happy birthday.
I mean, we're girls from Brooklyn. It's not. Listen, like with Reiki. Like the first time somebody told me about Reiki, I was like, come on, what are you talking about?
Right.
I did not understand it. And then, my sister-in-law does Reiki. And, I was like, yeah. I'm not, I'm the Catholic girl from Brooklyn,
right.
From Brooklyn. And yes, I'm very, I'm very spiritual. I feel very connected. I feel connected to, to people who have passed, but I still didn't get it. And then, so, my sister-in-law did it to me like the day my father-in-law died. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I felt the heat all over me. And then I went to another event, and they, it was a Reiki circle, like a big event with all these women, and it was a room full of like Reiki masters. So it was this intense energy in the
amazing
room,
energy,
right? And so the one woman, like, you know, she hit my hips. Like, I have multiple injuries in my hips. Like, I didn't say anything to her, and she was just like, whoa, like, you know, and like just like sat, and like you could feel the energy moving, and I was like, this is, I don't comprehend this. It's just so strange to me. And that's why, you know, people are like, oh, I'm like, no, really, I was a skeptic. And then they asked me to speak that day about how, you know, what we do with Vented. I sat in that room and I cried and cried and cried. And they're like, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Just like, you know, whether it was released or stress or, you know, I was overcome. So
that's actually very true that you say that. I'm glad you brought that up, Chrissy, because sometimes I'm all over the place. I forget. Before you do this, you want to be hydrated. Very important. Because think about that. You're moving energy, right? You're moving.
Okay.
Energy. You want to be super hydrated. You want to set an intention, right? You want to set the intention for healing, right? So you have that clear goal in mind. And then the third thing that you want to do is know that you might cry or have other emotions, and possibly for a couple days. And it's no joke, like, because you are releasing that. And know that, like, when it comes out, don't be scared by that. No, be thankful and happy for that. That means it's literally coming out of you where it was stuck. And you might, you know, you might be super hungry. You may not eat. You may cry. You may laugh oddly, right? Like, all of these emotions can come forward, and they can come forward with intensity. And that happened to me too. And I got a little scared at first, but once you learn that that's okay, that's part of it, and you could even tap on that. Even though I'm having this release, I truly love and accept myself, and do the whole round with that, and then feel at peace with that. But I'm glad you brought that up, because that could scare someone.
I mean, I was overcome, and I think I scared everybody in the place. But you know, like, but they came after me and hugged me. I mean, you have a room full of people, and that was amazing, because they were talking about getting past to have Reiki in the OR with cancer patients.
Right.
So, you know, it was just really an emotional day all around. We're sitting here talking about cancer patients, who's hugging me. You know, it's like, oh, I miss those times, people hugging me. You know.
And you can use this for anything. You know, you bring up cancer, and people kind of get taken aback. I worked with someone who had breast cancer, and I'm not saying it was, because it's never me. It's through me, right? Like, her lump went away. And, you know, that just seems, you know, it was almost shocking to me, but not so. You know what I mean? Because she probably had stuff that her breast cancer might have been emotional. You know, we all have different reasons for why we have ailments and issues. And
wait, I have to get tissue. Stay.
Oh, okay. Hello. You okay there, Chrissy?
Yes, I just didn't want to start sniffling. Like, you know, like, me and my emotions. See, like, you know, the sun's, like, trying to come out.
I know. And that was beautiful. And, you know, I'm never in charge. I'm never surprised by what happened with my clients when I, you know, did do coaching one-on-one back then. Some of the things that they released were remarkable. Remarkable.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, there's all these things we could do. You know, you and I was talking about the book Breathe with James Nestor that I've been reading, and, you know, I just finished it, and I'm just like, wow. You know, like, and really been working on my breathing, and, you know, so, like, with the tapping, and I, you know, he also talked about closing one side and just breathing on one side and stimulating the other, or with, you know, with when you have attention deficit and things like that. Like, you know, it's amazing what we can do for our body when we give it the attention it needs. right? And the self-care, like this is self-care.
This is self-care.
Take time and heal yourself.
Yeah, and I don't think there's one way that works for everyone, right? So you like introducing all these different ways is fabulous because something's going to resonate with someone. And, you know, maybe it's EFT, maybe it's the 9 gamut, right? Maybe there was a reason I talked about that today. I also went a couple steps further.
We can talk about that one? Which one? Or were we talking about the further step?
Further steps. No.
Oh, okay.
So there's other, we can talk about that if you want, but there are so many offshoots. Like I said in the beginning of this, there's no one way to do everything. Like even you're talking about your breathing. I love that you taught that. And remember then Jen talked about the right? Like there are so many ways that we can help ourselves. Like you said, self-care. Don't take everything as in a vacuum. Do what feels right for you, because I had to kind of offshoot these things a little bit for it to work right for me. And remember, that's okay. There's no rules to healing. It's what works right for you. So one of the things that I did, so you said, I talked about the one woman that I had that had a lump. I had people that had, pain. I had people who had bad anxiety. I had, all kinds of clients. But one of the things that I wanted to learn how to do was how to find out if it was physical, emotional, or spiritual. And I thought that was super important. And I'm not going to go into detail with this, but I do want to get this and show you. One of the things that I did, I don't know if anyone's ever seen one of these. Have you ever seen one of these?
Oh, you talked about this the other night. Okay, yeah.
Did I have one out with me?
No. So good. All right, tell us about it.
So listen up. So what's great about this is you can get your yes, no answers from it. And again, I thought this was like, I'm a Catholic girl also, and I was like, this is not okay, right? Like, this is not my God.
Like witchcraft.
Exactly. So yeah. I fought it for the longest time because I was like, this is bad, right? Like against everything that I believe in. And I prayed, and then I realized God would not have given me this, right? Put this in front of me if I wasn't meant to do this. And as long as I know it comes through God and not through me, like I'm not being the person, or I'm not saying there's power in this, what it is this beautiful universe, everything comes through that way. So that's what helped me, grasp onto this and want to learn more. But the reason I used this is because it was really important for me to see if something was emotional, physical, or spiritual, because although it all comes down to healing and drills down to a healing, there may be a different way to do it. Because obviously, if you have a physical ailment, I'm not saying this is the only thing to do is EFT. You might have to go to a doctor. You might have to get surgery. You might need medicine.
But you might need to do it all.
You might need to do it all. Right. And you might also need some EFT to help you with that. If it's emotional, wouldn't that be horrible if you went and got all cut up but didn't need to? If you could clear those emotions and see first that it wasn't a physical issue. And then if it didn't go, then you go to the doctor. Do you know what I mean? So it was really important for me, especially with clients that were coming to me about medicine. Like it was getting, I had clients that would come, how much medicine should I take? And they were seeing me as a doctor, and I was like, no, this is a compliment to, and I can help you with, but we need to work together. We're not one and, we're not separate. So that was really important for me. So getting back to this, all this is it's a way to communicate with your subconscious mind. And these are pendulums. I have them if anybody wants one.
Yeah, Maureen's asking if you sell them.
I have them, yes, thanks, Maureen.
Okay.
So you literally just ask questions, and it's scary. Like, it looks like I might be doing this. I wish you were with me, Chrissy, and I could hand this to you, because when you do this, you'll drop it like the first time, like, this is freaky deaky. You ask, and you find out your baseline, and you say, give me a yes. And I know my yes, just because I've been doing this for years, is forward and back. Give me a no. And see how it stops? Can you see that? And it goes back and forth this way. I know, look at your eyes.
I know, I'm like,
It's freaky.
Freaky.
Yeah. And so this is not just something I made up. This is nothing that like a covenant of witches made up. This is actually taught. Chiropractors use this. It is taught in college classes. Kinesiology is taught, and this is part of it. This is just an offshoot that I'm using this, but they use the body. I don't know if you've heard of people who use your arm when it goes up and down. This is the same thing, right? So when you get a yes or a no, and your yes is strong and the no drops your arm, this is the same. It's just an extension of that. So when you hear that, it makes it a little bit less freaky deaky, maybe. The other good thing is you could do this right in your head and ask yourself, but we are human beings, and we're conditioned to need something outside of ourselves, right? To see, like even a pill, right? Like something to help us. So this helps us kind of anchor us to say, oh, I'll listen to that, but I won't listen to my own brain tell me, right? Unfortunately. So it's kind of neat to have something outside of ourselves. So when you get your yes and no, you can ask anything. Like don't predict the future. I had a teenager once who asked me, is he going to ask me out? I'm like, oh my God, your dad would kill me if he knew. Like she wanted me to predict like I had the magic 8 ball.
Yeah, like is 6 going to be the lotto number?
Right, exactly.
That's not going to happen.
This is not how that works. What this is doing is it's literally talking to your subconscious, right? It whatever answers you need in there. So when you're asking your yes, no, I have a whole introduction. I won't go into that detail of what I ask. I ask if there's any, any other people's energies. I remember we were talking about I'll ask if there's any parasites on me, physical, people, emotional parasites. I'll ask all kinds of questions first to see if it's my crap that I'm healing or am I holding someone else's crap. Okay. But once we get clear, because I'm just going to do like a beginner's, you ask those questions. So you can say, I'm going to ask, do I have anything that needs healing? It says yes. So as we know, we're always shedding layers. We're always growing. So I don't know what's going to come up. So I'm a little scared. It could be super personal, but I do need something for healing. Is it emotional? So it's not emotional, which is interesting because most of mine are. Is it spiritual? Is it physical? So I have a physical issue right now. And I could probably tell you what it is because I ate coconut and almonds earlier. So, and they don't like me too much. I like them. So I'm going to ask, was it that muffin? Do I have 100% internal cooperation in clearing this? I don't. So what I do is I keep drilling down and asking these questions. And I use it in tandem with the EFT because once I get the answer, and I don't know how long that could go on for, so I don't want to bore anyone with that, but they kind of got the idea. If the answer is, I have a sensitivity to coconut, I would just, even though I have this sensitivity to coconut, I truly love and accept myself. And I keep going around there. And you can Google this. People have gotten over allergies with this. There are studies for NAET, which is another offshoot of EFT, of people who have had peanut allergies who have gotten over them by using it.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. There are stories of kids that have severe ADHD or autism. Now, I'm not saying they got 100% better, but they certainly got well. My son being one of them. And I don't know if I've ever told you that story, but it's incredible what energy healing can do and what we're capable of healing our own bodies. So I just wanted to give you that little introduction. If anyone was interested, maybe it resonated with someone, maybe they Google it and look it up, maybe they call me, whatever it is. I'm all about throwing out like spaghetti and seeing what sticks to the wall to help people because I want to give people whatever's in my toolbox. You know that. That's what I'm all about.
I know, and that's why your heart is so great, because really that's, you just want to help people.
I just want to help people. Like, whatever else comes from it is gravy, but it's all about helping one another. It really is.
That's right. And what a difference in the world would be if just one by one, we just started being nicer to each other, right? And helping each other. You know, there was a great, event yesterday. The creator of It Cosmetics, her book Believe It launched today. So she had amazing speakers all day yesterday, and it was just, and they just spoke about how, she said, well, they asked me, do you want the top, like Mel Robbins and all these people, like, do you really want these top people coming to talk? Because then they're gonna be better than you. And then, where can I buy your cards and books? Yes, we're going to make sure that we mention all that. And, they all just kept speaking about, when you lift somebody up, you lift yourself up. Just giving and helping people make you feel better. When you feel like shit, do something for somebody else. 100%. And that'll help you.
One day I was in a church pew. I can remember this, at my lowest with anxiety. And obviously, I'm going to admit I don't go every Sunday. I just don't. But I happened to be there. And it happened to be a day they were talking about anxiety. And I was like, I'm here for a purpose. And they brought a man up to the front. And he talked about how he cured himself from anxiety was going to work at a soup kitchen. Because him helping someone else gave him the freedom. Yeah.
I'm following the props. Marine's answering the props, and I'm putting the hamburger. Go ahead, keep talking.
But it's about what you just said. If we could just help one another without another agenda to it, right? Without anything tied to it, unconditional helping and love, it comes back to you 100 times over.
It does,
right?
Yes, totally.
There's no secret.
Maureen has connected me to all of you. Like, I'm like surrounded by these amazing women, and she's just like, oh, well, I'm going and you're all coming.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's like you're all
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm just holding on to those stars. You're a shooting star. I'm just holding on, Maureen. I'm coming with you. But she truly believes in helping others and being kind to other women and
be kind. And that's also what you said, I think, is so important. Like, there's so many coaches out there, right? So many people doing this right now. And, I believe they all know, yes, they're helping other people, but they're also helping themselves, right? They're helping themselves, too. It's an exchange. They're not on a different plane than the clients. We're all on the same plane learning from one another. The coach needs it as bad as the student. Right?
I tell them, like, when if there's like a topic that comes up or an event that I'm doing, usually it's for selfish reasons,
right?
Somewhat.
Always.
I'm going through this shit, so you probably must be going through it, so let's help each other get through it.
Right.
We can do it together, like, I'm feeling alone. This has been a long freaking 12 months. Like, like, it's crazy. So, that's why you need to be surrounded by all you women. You're all great. Oh. And now you're even like, hey, Chrissy, what are you up to? I know you're up to something. You're hanging out with all these authors for a reason. And yeah, because I'm trying to, like, inspire myself to write, what I want to write. And, so I love it. And I love that you keep saying yes to me. And you really are such an inspiration from the crap, the loss of your sister, the loss of your father at such a young age. Really, people, you'll read her book and be like, holy crap. And, in a good way, you'd be like, holy shit, I haven't been through anything. And then you're like, oh, wow. Let me pause. I can get through this stuff. Like, what you went through is amazing. And, we can do it together. And, I can't wait to see what else you come up with and you do, because I know there's great things. Talk about what you're doing now.
Oh my gosh. So I'm doing so much. Again, I'm a spaghetti at the wall type of gal. So there's a lot going on with me. I get these ideas. I'm an ideas person, and I love throwing things out and seeing, how people respond, because I have this all inside of me, right? So, I have retreats. I love to write. Writing has been it's my center. I'm not just saying that because I wrote a book. I'm saying that because it really was a savior for me from a young age. I started a diary, and I think every day in high school and college I wrote every day. Like, I didn't miss a day.
Wow.
It is cathartic for me. So I want to bring that to other people. I want people to see when they get things out on paper, they start to see things and see patterns, and they can have their dreams. They're not stuck. And writing is a cathartic way to get to where you want to go. So I have retreats that are available. I have a journaling challenge coming up. I have a book writing challenge coming up. What else?
And what's the website
It's Write On, WRITE on Ventures, VENTURES, Write On Ventures. I would love.
And they're not just retreats, like a trip to Ireland.
Yeah, they're nice.
Sedona. Is that the other one? Yeah.
New Hope. Yeah. I think it's really important that the other part of me is I really think it's great that we have social media now, especially these last 12 months. But we have to remember we are human beings, not human doings, right? So we don't always have to be doing on social media. I love to travel. And I think getting your feet in the earth, getting out and seeing the skies, seeing new things. You may not be able to travel now, but you can do things in your backyard. You don't know how much beauty is right in your town or the town next to you. Get in your car and go see that, because that's what brings us life. We're part of this, I'm not saying anything you don't know, but I'm reminding you, we're part of nature. So that's why I wanted these fabulous places for these retreats, because we're meant to see this. We're part of this. We can't keep being in and, just being on these things and flipping through them all day. It's not healthy for us.
No. Yeah, and because then we compare.
Right. Oh, God, yes.
And then it's like, then it's like, you like went at this high and then you go on, you're like, you talk yourself out of everything that thing you did because you're looking at somebody else, and then you start judging yourself, and it's just,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It becomes its own job.
And then but then like the thing, like I talk about this a lot, is that, you look at other women and businesses, but some of them are faking it till they make it, right? It's their job.
So many, yeah.
To look successful. And I've talked about this when I lost all my inventory, I was faking it. Like I was crying inside and did not want to go on, right? But you just have to keep going on, because if anybody ever looked or somebody could approach me or some kind of deal, like, you always have to be on. But, so people are like, oh, you're so successful. I'm like, no, you don't know what's really going on.
Right.
It's an air and I have to do it. It's what you have to do in business. It's like,
yeah, definitely. But that's what's kind of cool where you, with these traveling or these retreats, is you get to leave that at the door. You don't have to put on that. And even if you don't go on one of my retreats, like I said, go to the town next door and leave everything at your door, right? Leave that business at the door, because it's 90% of the stress that's going on. It's not just the stress of what you're watching on the news, which is a huge part of it. It's the fact that you're not going out and being a human being. We're being human doings, and it's
right. Just being in nature, you and I both love like being at the water, like, just like healing. And I'm very lucky to have like 2 parks on either side of me, and we can just go for a walk. There's water at both of them. And it's just like, I'm waiting for the snow to melt, because I'm a little annoyed I haven't seen a crocus yet. It's my Facebook memories. I'm always like the first one to post like, spring, first crocus of the year. It's always my thing. And I'm like, waiting. I wish so much snow here. So it has to go away. And then, so then you also have your Irish hippie chick clothes.
I have, yes. So I have, my husband's Irish, and I think I'm somewhat of a hippie, right? So we put it together and we created a clothing line called the Irish Hippie, which I think is adorable. And it's got a cute little like VW type van on it. And we just did that because we love it, right? And then we thought if we loved it, like you said, maybe someone else would. And it's doing really well. Like, people love that. People love that. Trying to think what else I'm doing. I'm writing memoirs for other people. Anything to do with writing, being happy and kind, you can call me.
All right, everybody hear that? I'll help
Yeah.
contact Lucy, and she'll help you get through the crap of today.
I will.
Right?
I will.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's
help
just
you with ideas if you're writing, you do writing coaching. There's so many things that you do to help others.
right.
And you're ready, willing, and able.
Anything. I mean, if someone just wants to go through the EFT and just wants to call me or email me, like whatever it is, instant message me. I'm not like I'm super approachable. You have this. Like this is yours. It's
Okay, great.
all about sharing.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we can come on another time. We've been on a while. I just looked at him like, oh yeah. Another time we'll come on and we'll talk about how we're both gluten free for healing, and
That's all.
I started. I finally found the date of when I did it. I went to hear. Of course, my brain really trying to get those memories. When this does not work anymore.
It's
never good, but now
right.
it's
That quickness is gone.
Gabrielle Bernstein, I saw her speak in 2013. Her and a whole bunch of other speakers at a Hay House event. And that's when I decided to, the stomach pains, I'm going to try this. And I went gluten-free the next day. And now that was 2013.
Wow.
And here I am all these years later, not in a balled-up pain where,
it's life-changing, right? That one
yes.
thing is life-changing. And your health and whole, your body, mind, and spirit has changed because of that.
Totally. I mean, there was one night I remember my husband had band practice. I had semolina pasta, for dinner with my daughter. And I remember being in the bed, oh my God, I'm going to have to call an ambulance. I had such bad pains, worse than labor pains. I'm and that was right before, that happened right before I saw Gabrielle Bernstein and all them speak. So, listening to your body, listening to yourself, and, we all really know what we need to do.
Oh my gosh, we absolutely do.
We do. And it's a matter of finding the strength to listen, right? Whether it's the pendulum, right? Or,
we know.
We know.
Without that pendulum or without EFT, but sometimes we just need that little thing to have us listen. But I agree with you. We already know. It's there.
It is. And we're all going to do it. So Maureen's saying goodbye. She's going to Ronnie.
Bye, Maureen.
Yeah. And she talked about her retreat. So the amazing thing about all these women that are all authors is that they're all doing the same thing, kind of, and supporting each other.
Yeah.
And loving eeach other.
Oh my
and
God.
rooting each other on. And attending and going back and forth, because you know what? It's not the same. There's millions and millions of people out there, and you can all do this.
We all can
all rise together.
Yeah, we all may have the same message, but that particular person may need to hear it from Maureen or Jen or me, or Chrissy, and that's okay. There's enough pie for everybody.
That's right. I won't make you. I won't make you read the chapter this time. But I can go back to a couple of IGTVs when she reads the chapter in her book, Anxious Hippie, about women and how you should be together and support each other, so you won't be discouraged. So again, everybody, I'm going to let Lucy go because I can talk her ear off.
Thank you.
Go right now. There's a deal on Amazon. Right, it's for under $6.
It's ridiculous. It's $5.35 now, the price of a macchiato.
All right, so buy a bunch for you and your friends, and if you want to have your own girls' night, Lucy will come on and talk.
I would, absolutely.
Yeah, she's great. Go get this book and talk about stuff that's going on. Get it out in the world and get it gone.
Right.
Right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lucy.
So much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I'll share all your things, okay? All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.